Hi everyone, I am Itay, I'm a tour guide in Israel, and this is the fifth part of the Highlights Tour of Jerusalem. Enjoy. So you see all that antiquity right below us. This is the downtown of Jerusalem from 2000 years ago, from the Second Temple period. This is where people came to prepare for the pilgrimage in the temple, to buy an offering, to maybe buy a new set of clothes, to pay the half shekel coin, which was a yearly tax the Jews paid in order to sustain the temple and more. And only here in this area there were many mikvehs that were found. If you look below, you will see this staircase, and you see actually two staircases on the side of a little wall that was higher in those days. So imagine those hundreds of thousands of people coming over, and they all want to dip in the mikveh before going up to the Temple Mount. And they are standing in line, and on one side of the wall people come in, they dip in the water in the mikveh, in the purifying bath, and they come up on the other side. And this is how it went. So this place where we are now is called Ezrat Israel. This is a egalitarian ceremonies section. Now it's very quiet, again due to the corona, mainly because when there is tourism there are many bar mitzvah, bat mitzvah ceremonies taking place here of families, not only but mainly, that are coming from abroad. And if you look down there, you will see that amazing thing that is here, which is the main road of the area of the Western Wall during the Second Temple period. And this is where everyone went, and this is where also Jesus and the apostles and everyone that were in Jerusalem in those days, this is where they walk back and forth. This is the actual, stones. Now you look at it, it doesn't look as old, it doesn't look like a 2,000-year-old road, but it's kept amazingly because of a few reasons. The first one was that this is limestone, and limestone is extremely durable, it's extremely hard. The pyramids in Egypt are made of limestone. And the second one is that this whole area was covered up until, if you look there, you will see the level of the soil. Until 40 years ago, this whole area was completely covered up by soil, and this also helped to keep it as it is. So we can see the road down below, and on it a huge pile of rocks. And I just told you a few minutes ago about how the Romans pushed down the rocks from the top of the wall, and it was higher than it is now. And this is it. These rocks were pushed by Roman soldiers, and on some of them you can see carvings to put a stick and to push it down to make it fall. When people talk about the destruction of Jerusalem, this is it in front of your eyes. This is how it looks like, and this is one of the most clear, painful evidences for the end of that war as it happened back then. Over there you can see the beginning of a huge arch that went all the way down here to the street level. It's known as Robinson's Arch, named after the archaeologist who recognized that. And it led people up to a giant building that was up there, known as the Royal Portico. This was like the Congress Center, as a meeting area of the Temple Mount. You could say that when Herod builds the Temple Mount, he knows that the temple is for the priests and the Levites. There is not getting the final decision about how things will go, and he's building another temple for guests, conventions, markets, whatever he will choose. And when Jesus comes up there, probably through this arch that we're now looking at what is left from it, he sees a marketplace there, and he's very, very disturbed by seeing a marketplace so close to the Holy of Holies, to the temple itself. And as we all know the story, he's taking those trolleys, caravans, and he's taking them upside down, and there is a big mess around this story, and this is where it happens. So in another day I'm going to do another 360 tour going down to that area, and there is a lot more to see there. It's really, really nice. If you like more of these things, let me know in the comments. I'll know, what to do next, and you can help me to get inspiration about those videos. No. Rosemary. Rosemary. So we got to the lowest part of this tour, I mean topographically, and now we are starting to climb many stairs all the way up to the Jewish Quarter. If you look to the left, you can see the Mount of Olives there with the Jewish cemetery that is up there. It's the oldest still active cemetery in the world. There are tombs there from the first temple period, and people are still being buried there today. This construction site on the left-hand side is an elevator. They're building now an elevator to connect the Western Wall to the Jewish Quarter. And soon you will see why.
Shabbos gewoon mooi. שבת קודש, כל שקל שלכם מצטרף.
On the right, you can see a ruin of an old Crusader German Teuton church. The Teutons were one of those sects of knights that made the Crusader kingdom, and they were a bit in their own thing, So here they had their own church. In the Galilee, they built their own fort, separated from the busy city of Acre, the capital. They had their own thing. On the right there is an interesting site that was found called the Burnt House. It's a house that was destroyed during the Great Revolt by the Romans, and they found there an arm that is chopped off holding a sword. So it was like a battle found frozen in time, and they made a museum there. We entered into the Jewish Quarter, and when you look around you will notice that the buildings look newer than they are in the Christian Quarter, the Muslim Quarter, and it is. In 1948, during the War of Independence, the Jordanian army was taking over the Jewish Quarter from the people who lived here, and in some point they fought in a way that was, we blow everything up until you guys surrender. And it worked. They did take the Jewish Quarter in the end, but at the cost of destroying a big part of it. For the next 19 years, from 48 to 67, the Six-Day War, the Jewish Quarter was empty. And after that it was decided to destroy also most of the old buildings that were already in a very bad shape and rebuild the Jewish Quarter altogether. So there are buildings here that are old, but most of them were built from the 70s and onwards. On the right you can see a model of the menorah, the most famous Jewish artifact of all times. It used to stand in the temple right in front of the Holy of Holies. And right there in front of us is a synagogue that is fairly new. It's slightly more than 10 years old, but everyone calls it the Churva, which means the ruined building. Why would you call a brand new building a ruined building? So this synagogue was destroyed in 1948, and until 12, 13 years ago it stood here as a ruin, and everyone knew it as a ruined building. So even though they rebuilt it, the name caught up, and that's how people call it until today. Because of this destruction and then rebuilding of the Jewish Quarter, they found here many of the most impressive excavations and sites in Jerusalem, from the simple reason that there was a golden opportunity to excavate here. While in the old city it's very, very difficult to do because there are buildings on top of everything. So here there was this one chance and it was used well. Here, for example, you can see a part of the Byzantine Cardo, the main road of the city. It was twice as wide than what you see here, much larger than this. And it used to go all the way from one side of the city to the other. And let's go and see if we can see some more interesting stuff about the Cardo. All right. So we're going a bit lower to the level of the Cardo, and right here in front of us we can see the oldest map that was ever found of Jerusalem. So this is not the original. The original was found in the city of Madaba in Jordan in the floor of a church that was renovated, and then they found this huge mosaic showing the entire region. Jerusalem is just a small part of the map, and here it's being enlarged. And what we can see here are the two corridors, the main one in the middle, the upper one over there. The Church of the Holy Sepulchre is this giant building that is over here. And you can see how wide is the place of the corridor within the old city. Huge. It was a huge portion of it, and it just shows the importance of what it meant for the people of the city in older times. And over there, we can see a part of it that was further excavated. And on the left, you can see how those pillars used to hold a wooden skeleton with tiles on top of it, and it made shade on the shops that were here below. And if you will ever come here in July, August, you will understand the importance of a good shade. And here they did a little painting to show us the idea of how it looked like. In Jerusalem, some people like to hug ancient pillars, get connected, so come and do it. Over there, some mosaics were made to show the different businesses that were here. Musical instruments, jars, it's about glasswork, and metalwork store. Nice. And we will now start to head our way through the Armenian Quarter back to Jaffa Gate. Some people like to joke and say that the Jewish Quarter is actually the American Quarter because there are many families that came from the States to live here.
There's a lane, looks like there's a lane. Another question. I was going to keep the glass. I'm assuming his wife will I'm guessing. People like me. Two people like you.
We obviously have right on our
Guessing. I'm surprised why I could not download that. It does not seem like possible.
It's a nice museum about the old life in the Jewish Quarter, how they lived here, and the very basic conditions that they had. And here we are crossing from the Jewish Quarter to the Armenian Quarter. How do I know it? Because you can see the names. This is Ararat Road, right there. And we already know the importance of Mount Ararat for the Armenians. And St. James Road. And on the left, we are passing near what is known as the Armenian Fort. It's an area with the most important Armenian institutions that is surrounded by a wall and gates. So the Armenians were the first one to become Christian as a country. 10 years before Constantine accepted Christianity as legal, the Armenian king has accepted Christianity and all of Armenia with him. And ever since, there is an Armenian presence in Jerusalem. Especially from the Crusader times, they really solidified their own area in the old city. And that is what makes them so unique. And that they have their own section. Around the Armenian Quarter, there are many signs trying to educate people about the Armenian genocide and what they've been through in the First World War, trying to convince people about the importance of countries from around the world to recognize and acknowledge the Armenian genocide, like this sign that you see here, I remember and demand. The image on the top is the memorial for the Armenian genocide in Armenia. Of course, this is a big political thing as Turkey makes it into a personal thing. They deny Erdogan at the moment that it happened, or the way that it happened. Whenever a country acknowledges the Armenian genocide, there is a diplomatic issue with Turkey. And that's the reason that for a long time countries didn't acknowledge it officially, even though it is very, very clear and there are enough evidences and researchers that documented a lot. A few years ago the US acknowledged the Armenian genocide, and that started a big change in European countries before them. And what the Armenians are saying is that you have to acknowledge and learn from what happened in order to make sure it doesn't happen again. And they say that maybe if the world would have learned from what the Armenians have been through, the Jewish Holocaust, maybe it wouldn't have happened. Maybe countries were alert enough in time to be able to stop it. And there is a Western Wall train coming get us. And here is the moat of the David Citadel. Again, the palace of King Herod from 2,000 years ago. There they make performances from time to time. It's very, very nice. And down there you can see some of the original carvings in the rock. They took rocks out in order to build the structure. And also some mikvehs were found down there. Under the bridge you can see one of them. And there we are coming back at Jaffa Gate, and thus closing our circle of this introductory tour to the old city of Jerusalem. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any comments, questions, if you enjoyed this or didn't, write in the comments below. This will help me a lot to understand how to do these things, maybe how not to do these things, to really make it improved and to do more of it. So please subscribe, like, dislike, comment below on how was your experience. And thank you for joining me. I'll see you again in the next tour. And there is Jaffa Gate right in front of us. Well done for walking today with me. I'll see you in the next videos.